We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will start out with work items. Item A, public hearing and special board meeting minutes, June 25th.
I make a motion.
A second.
All in favor?
I.
Pass. Thank you very much, Anita. Item D, public hearing and regular board meeting minutes, July 1st.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, Anita. Proposed local law number 3, which is the extending parking hours 8 to 8. Any discussion from the board?
No, I'll make a motion that we approve that. But were we putting in
The 6 to 8?
That's not part of the local law.
That's not the local law.
Yeah, maybe we should we can explain that afterwards.
Right.
A second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Can we just make an amendment that Mark,
Yeah.
who could not make it, would vote in favor as well.
yep, I'm just gonna do that.
Okay.
Thank you to all of you that worked on the main street, coming up with the ideas. 3 things that we are going to do that don't require a local law. So I'm looking at you. Number 1 is that the blue parking pass will now, what's it called?
Resident parking pass.
Residence pass will not only go from 8 in the morning until 11, it will also go from 6 to 8. And there will also be additional permitted parking, which will now go from the toboggan chute to the Methodist Church, where it used to be years ago. And there will also be 5 spots in front of the lake house, which used to be the lake side. And those will also become permitted spots. The idea being there, if there are now people that used to park on Main Street, they will have a place to park. As we've said before, this is not a one and done, it's a work in progress. Nobody is going to be satisfying everybody, but this is the direction that we feel the board wants to go. Is there anything I left out? Yes, Jackie said Mark would love to have been here, but family comes first. He was headed there.
Boston.
Okay. Let's see what's that for us. Yes, item D, 15 KV primary cable bid award, anything you wanna mention about that? Anyone would like to make a motion?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pass. Item E is transformer disconnect fixes, invitation for bids.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then F has been a search of, I believe, 31 applicants, whittled down to 10, 8, 3. And the final recommendation from the department head was for Jeremy Perryman. Perrin. Anyone have any questions there? Motion to approve.
Is he already, or does he have to go to school?
He's gotta go to school, but he's got line underground locating. And just regular underground line work. He's coming from Vermont. He's got a lot of experience.
Okay.
And he'll also be hired subject to physical testing and starting via union contract for salary. I'm sorry, we already get a first and a second.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. And then probably take items G and H together, both are for training for Brady Hayes. New York State Office Development Leadership and Supervision course, multiple dates, Potsdam, New York. The other is Fire and Emergency Services Instructor. 1 course, multiple dates, Albany.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. And then I is the noise permanent permit application, which was August 1st. Any discussion or a motion?
It's the one that's going on here.
On the oval.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm making the recommendation that we not grant the extension.
Okay, but we still have to vote on it, so.
Okay,
So if we bring it up, it's just going to be, if everyone feels great, vote for it, if not, vote nay.
I think,
So I need a motion to approve.
should we discuss it briefly or is it?
Sure, we
Yeah.
can do that now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be in the same camp as Jackie on this. I think, 9:30 should hopefully give them plenty of time to still have the event, but I think would also take into account local residents.
and since we don't know where this noise is going to,
Echo through.
yeah,
I mean, it is a precedent that's being set here. And it could have been down at the horse show ground, which is bigger, more capable of holding it if they choose here. I don't think we want to subject our residents to something brand new and we don't know how far away people are going to hear this.
Mhm.
Well, I guess the other side of this is that no one brings it up as a motion and no one seconds it, it's not voted on.
Well, I think, we need to give an answer, and I think it should be
Well,
an
but that-
official,
I think it's either. a
Janet,
motion
can
to
you help us
accept or a
there?
Motion to deny.
yeah.
What is your question? What kind of help do you need?
Do we have to, well, if there's not anyone that's going to first and second it, does it even get discussed?
We want to make it at 9:30 instead of
We're
10.
just gonna deny it because 9:30 is.
Well, yes, here, procedurally, somebody should make a motion. It should be seconded. There should be discussion. If the motion doesn't pass, or if the motion needs to be amended, it can be amended based on discussion. But if the idea here is, if the question here is, will you extend the hours for this concert on the Oval beyond the 9:30 cutoff date? Then a motion should be made one way or the other, and you can have discussion. If somebody wants to vote, somebody wants to propose a motion that it be denied, and there's a second, there can be a vote. If somebody, prior to the vote, there can be discussion. If somebody wants to make a motion that it be granted, and that motion gets seconded, there can be discussion and a vote. But one way or another, there should be a vote.
Okay, I get that part.
all right, I made the motion.
But which motion?
I made the motion to deny the request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Now you can have discussion.
Just go. So my thing is that we don't want to say you can't have the event, we just want to say you can't go past 9:30.
Yeah,
And I think that is how these people have understood it, they plan to move ahead, it's not up to us it's not our property, the
Yeah.
school has already given them that, so,
Alright.
yeah, I think that is understood, they were just here to ask about that extra half hour.
and I think we support what they're doing and I
Yeah.
think it's great. I think we're just trying to balance feedback that we've gotten about
Absolutely.
events and.
And I explained that, and they
noise.
understood.
Yeah.
That one of them
Great.
might be online here.
Perfect.
So then we have to vote.
Well, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor of not allowing the extension of the noise permit?
I,
So that was easy. Item J, US Masters Swim Event, August 10th. I think we've all talked that through. They've changed their ambulance hours and proper names. They've changed the hospital hours and its proper name. I think the motion I'd like to ask for has it being vetted by Janet to make sure that the village is insured, or at least the best we can do. And that they're signing some kind of a paper realizing that they are in a hostile area that cannot be policed completely. Pending the accident that happened last year, we don't want anyone to feel it's our jurisdiction, that we could have done something about it. We entertain a motion to approve based on Janet's vetting.
I'll make the motion. So we're gonna approve it with,
Jan, condition of Jan, they have
Condition of
Jan's
Jan's
approval.
I think Janet already read it. I think her only thing was she wants us specifically named in the indemnification. Is that correct, Janet? Like as
I
long as.
would like,
they do that-
I am recommending that each participant, when they sign their waiver, that waiver be amended to specifically name the village and the town.
Okay, I will make that clear to them.
Okay, and if they have any questions, make sure they get what you get and get it to Janet.
Yeah, so I think we had Andrew
Okay.
and was there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else to come from the board?
No, that is it.
Treasury items, I'm gonna say thank you very much, Jackie, for looking over that. Do I have a motion to approve warrant page affidavit number 20?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, anything under new business?
We talked to Chad today, there's a lot of loose dogs that the police are going, they're having to run down.
Really? Just
Just today, out of the ordinary, yeah.
Is it a full moon or something? They had two in Sable, they had one in Jag over the weekend.
We had a biting at Paul Smith's campground guy
Oh,
had his off leash.
Oh.
So,
Like I said,
yeah, but he was asked to leave. Abide by the rules.
Anything else under new business? Anything under old business?
I think you all know this, but, we are now the proud owners of that 1.77 acres, on Station Street.
Yep, they started working on it, looks very good. A lot of people have that rail trail, a lot are using it.
Yeah, and I kudos to DPW for all the tree clearing they did there. It looks very nice. So you can see Mill Pond.
Are we putting, or are they putting in bathrooms there
Yes.
but before?
No, the bathroom's already there. There's,
Oh,
there's a,
All right.
there's an ADA and a regular porta
Okay.
john.
Okay.
It's
And
in, up against the hill and back in Muscatello's.
All right,
and I met last week with OSI, DEC and. It's not about parks, which is all the grant organizations that will be funding the work that's done at the property. So. There's a plan in place, there's some additional funds that need to be raised by OSI, but. We're on our way.
Great.
But, Mindy, did they say anything about their RFP?
It should be done by the end of. August, once they get all the finalized plans, they've gotta finish raising the money before they go out for RFP.
And in speaking to Peter Karas, I asked for plans so that I could present to the review board just for you know, sharing information. Not that the review board has a say, but they could have some input.
Anything else under old business? Okay, under mayor items, I think once again, we got very fortunate in the 5.1 inches of rain that fell from Hurricane Beryl. Pronounce it right. We got very fortunate. I feel very badly for the people in Vermont and New Hampshire that had them cleaned up after last year and they're all devastated again. That's gotta be really tough, especially with the summer season coming forward.
Mariah, and
I've heard about that.
Westport,
I haven't heard much, you know, it's.
yeah, Westport. You couldn't get off the ferry, they had to go all the way Roseboro and down and around. A lot of them came in Lincoln Island. They got hit, Mariah got hit, Mariah had 8 inches of
Did
rain,
they really?
Yep.
wow.
and
Yeah,
then,
5.1 is just on my back deck, I don't know what everybody else.
and then. Vermont was just, it took my son, who usually takes an hour and 10 minutes to get to his grandmother's, almost 2 hours because of going.
Road closures.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Montpelier again. It's got a bullet, not a bullet, it's got a target on its back, because they were about 17 feet again.
Mariah, Elizabeth Town, all those, was it?
E-Town wasn't, E-Town was the end of Lincoln Pond Road, so it was Lincoln Pond.
Okay,
But it went through Westport down the Lake Mariah.
is it as devastating as it was in Vermont, or is it just washouts they'll have to repair and get back home?
The road. Lewis got most of theirs back, but the roads were just, culverts were just gone, so they had to redo roads.
So really great that what damage there was minimal. And mentioning the rail trail again, for those of you that are not aware of it, that nothing will be done as far as Open Space Institute, the work they're gonna do at the very earliest, that'll probably be next spring. I don't think there's any time for this fall. So all we're doing at this point is getting it open so people can use it. Cutting the trees, so you can see the parking lot is great. I think it's interesting to note that almost 50-50, most of them are parking down at the train station and coming over rather than going to the parking lot, but it's all good. Like you said, it's great to see it being used. Even before it was opened. Also, I've started walking Main Street. Our Main Street proposals and our 8 to 8 is not a one and done. We are working to try to make this better for locals and the customers that go into people's stores. And we will continue to work on it, take anyone's feedback that wants to give us any, and continue to improve what we've done. Like I said, I have started walking Main Street. It's fitting it in when I have time. And it's great to hear what people have to say, that I have had some really positive feedback on things. It's helpful. Anything from commissioner reports? That brings us to public comment. Who would like to start? You guys are here.
I got a bunch of them here.
You're always last, right?
Are you here about music?
Yes.
Well, you know, I'm here, I heard you were gonna be here, so I'm here to actually support you and then have a little bit of discussion, so.
Okay, I'd just like to offer this couple of years together. You guys mind sharing that one? Yes. You guys want to share this one? So this particular thing that I'd like to talk about was drawn my attention by George LaBelle, the former owner of the Summit Crossbenchers. And who I am, my name is Brad Hester. I'm one of the founding leaders of Annie in the Water. It's a band that's been up here a lot. I've also officiated nearly every Can-Am tournament here for the last 2 years, working with Butch and the guys, so I've had a good time coming out here. The picture on the front is when we played songs on Mirror Lake in 2016. And essentially, the idea would be, because we used to come like once a year during lacrosse, and we would play at Smoke Signals or something. And this idea would be a yearly event at Mids Park. Beginning this year would be August 2nd, and it would be produced by my band Annie in the Water in collaboration with some local musicians, and it would feature a short segment to honor the Lake Placid lacrosse tournament legends. So it'd be like 15-20 minutes to kind of bring some attention to them. They're guys that have been around for a long time, involved in the tournament, and they've done some great things for the game of lacrosse. And it would also feature some special guests, potentially some local musicians performing with us. The main purpose is to collaborate with the community, cultivate inclusive and more respectful and joyful culture among the lacrosse families that would come to town and the community as a whole. Because I understand there's been some incidents in the past, some direct feedback I've gotten from some of my friends in town. That's usually the younger generation that's kind of been turned loose and kind of either destroyed some things like the car at the church. That's not acceptable to me. I feel like I'm one of the ambassadors of the game. I've been coaching with Albany Power Lacrosse, which is a year-round club since 2012. And I know they usually bring a couple teams up to the tournament, and they multiple of the families rent out a house. And so they're usually going to be coming up here. You know, the history of the game of lacrosse being a native invented sport, they would play lacrosse instead of fight each other in wars to solve disputes between tribes. So that type of behavior really is unacceptable to me. And one of Annie's missions is to improve the lives of everybody who's present for the shows. And on the second page here, it It's a little bit of the history of where we're at professionally. The game of lacrosse is how myself and the other founding member, Michael Lachon, came together. Picture on the left is a picture of me playing goalie against Duke. The picture on the right is Michael driving about to shoot on goal against Stony Brook. We've also performed multiple times in Mids Park for Carry the Load and for Ironman. And then we were one of the featured bands at the FISU Games last year. We carry ourselves very professionally. We have 6 members who have made it their priority in their life. It was in 2007 is when Nick and I started, and we were training that whole summer together for lacrosse, and we decided to begin playing music together. And then in 2012, we wrote our mission statement and founded our doing business as. And we were actually sitting in our living room and Mike was like, we gotta go to Lake Placid. And we literally got in the car and drove up, walked into Orta, met Katie Million, and we've been full-time since that day, in music and coaching lacrosse and that stuff. So we both are still involved in lacrosse. I know it's one thing that George said was like, he'd like to give back to the community because he also understands there's been some undesirable experiences with people. Couple pictures in the middle there, it's actually a shot from Experience Outdoors. We're 50 feet up in the air on a platform performing a song and producing it. And then this picture on the right there is John Million. We played at an event at Adirondack Lodge, and we've kept in touch with them for a long time. And at the bottom there, this summer, we were featured in the Rolling Stone after a performance at Northlands Music Festival, and we're about to release our 4th full-length studio album. We have a few live albums. So we are, we approach every event. We've played probably over 2,500 shows together, me and Mike, and we understand that every performance that we do is a relationship that needs to be cultivated, so there's mutually beneficial parties on both sides. To kind of summarize the event, it would be approximately 3 hours that could go either 4 to 7, 5 to 8, or 6 to 9, where local musicians could open it up for 45 minutes or so. I've already spoken with Nicholas Salpa. He is available this year. He filled in for us for Stu for Carry the Load last month or in May, end of May, because we were picked up for a big festival and we had to, alert Stu that we weren't able to do it. Nicholas played that, so he's got some experience there. He needs part as well. And it'd be a 15 to 30 minute segment for the Lake Placid legends, and then it'd be a concert provided by us and members of our band, potentially members of Mike Powell and the Echo Sound. Mike Powell's the leading scorer at Syracuse. His band is also very amazing and professional. His drummers played with us a bunch, and they're all really respectable guys. I think one thing we bring to the table is a very respectful atmosphere with fans of all ages, and one of our biggest goals is to have more free public events where we're not playing 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. in bars. We have several public events that we're doing now, which is really great. So essentially be organized by myself and George, which is probably need 4 hours to set up. The event would be 3 hours. I've already gotten multiple members of Albany Power to volunteer to help clean up the park at the conclusion. And then I kind of wrote in like a rough budget to make sure that there's professional audio provided, that we actually have everything we need, and we probably rent a couple things from High Peaks, or we just hire High Peaks to do it. And I also worked for High Peaks a couple times doing songs in Mirror Lake as one of the production engineers. So, and I don't expect you guys to decide tonight.
Well, I think I gave you I can't speak for the board, but I can speak a few things that we've talked about.
Mhm.
Why are you picking this part, and why aren't you going through songs of Mirror Lake?
So I did speak with both people from Roost and with Bill Billerman and my friend Val and Jen Ledger and stuff. And then I circled back around to Anita, and she just recommended coming in and speaking with you guys today.
I mean, why pick, it looks like you draw quite a crowd because you're a good band.
They do. I mean, they're
Why are
really,
you picking a place with no parking, not a very big audience? Our Mids Park, we allow Songs of the Lake to do a certain number of performances. We allow Roost, if they have something, just to partner with them. But the stores on Main Street really don't appreciate those events because it takes their parking away. It takes away their customers at a busy time when they need to make a living. Is there a reason that you wouldn't go to like the horse show grounds where there's parking and you can accommodate all the people that want to come? What makes you want to go on to Main Street where you're shoehorning yourself in?
Right, I think the initial idea was because it would be so really accessible to the local community and be a way to give back.
Where do locals park? How do they get to see your event?
I'm sorry.
Where do the locals park? I mean, we have a huge parking problem on Main Street, there's just not enough parking. So if you want to give back to the locals, wouldn't you go somewhere where they, like the horse show grounds, parking's free, there's plenty of it?
I think just speaking to that, like Songs on Mirror Lake during the lacrosse tournament last year, was really busy, which was great, but also it was,
Too
you know,
big for the town.
impossible to park. Yeah, and so I think that, you know, as you say, I think given the likely interest and draw, I think it may end up being kind of congested and not everybody who would want to be there would have as easy access. So I think it might be, it might be useful to look at, other venues that could be a little bit more in and out and just could accommodate, the people who would want to be there a little bit more easily.
Yeah, I think you've done yourself a disservice because I've worked at Order and I've seen your concerts and they're fabulous and it's a big draw and that venue just is not big enough for the amount of people you're gonna draw.
And even the other group, people are talking about using school campus, we have no jurisdiction over that, but once again, where do people park?
Samples,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you park for that? And once again, I think the perfect venue is when they've got open spaces, they've got
Well,
parking.
honestly, the horse show is closer to the lacrosse fields. So they could leave the lacrosse fields and go right to the horse show grounds,
Right.
which would be great for the lacrosse players as well as the locals, cause I've seen you play numerous times at New Vida and I would go. If you were at the lacrosse or at the horse show grounds, I would like Main Street.
Right. That was actually one of the questions I wanted to make sure I expressed was if everybody felt there was a better place for it. Cause
Yeah.
I also understand, it's like, you guys are trying to make decisions for all the people that live here, and it's completely valid. Like I myself as a business owner, I'm always looking at like liability, experience for everybody involved, so it's extremely valuable feedback for us too, and that's.
Yeah, don't get us wrong, we appreciate what you're doing, we're very happy that you're here, but I just think you've got a great venue down, it's just not far away, it's a mile and a half, 2 miles from where we sit, that can give you everything you need.
This budget that you've prepared, are you asking for that support? Or is somebody sponsoring you? Are you looking to the village to support this?
Right, so that was another thing, understanding this year is like 2.5 weeks away, I understand it can like really possibly be like, hey, we need this money from you guys or to find sponsors for us, I'd be willing to do it myself to find sponsors. In the future, I would imagine that it would be something that could be planned a little further in advance and, we would find sponsors for it. I know George was kind of saying like, just kind of gauge the response. He paid me last year to set up what I did for them in the horse show grounds. It was more of a private event.
Sure.
I supplied the PA system, I hired the engineer, like I said.
That's how many people you have show up for one you didn't even advertise.
That one was more just for the actual legend ceremony, so it was like meant to be smaller.
Right.
But you guys bring up a great point with the parking and stuff.
Well, and not to mention crowd control, as Katie said, I mean, we've already had discussions, some of these are just beyond, if something happened, we couldn't control it.
Right.
And like I say, the people that are using the oval over here, it'll be a test, we don't control it, but, we'll see.
Yeah, and they're a huge band too, they're really great.
Like I said, I don't know where they're gonna park.
Right.
So I'm here to support Brad. We've probably met once or twice and my family is certainly dedicated performing arts here in Lake Placid. I'm 4th generation family here and I know there was some discussion last summer, which I initiated and our interest in playing in the band and shell. I think we were a little late in the game. It was kind of mid-August and we were looking to see if we could put something together, and at that point, we ended up at LPCA at the Performing Arts Center, which we're actually gonna do again. 816 for my band over our project, we've actually been playing a tremendous amount in Lake Placid over the past 1.5 years. Big Z's, we were great at Adirondack Hotel, and this past Saturday evening, say Performing Arts Center, and I think we've built quite a following here, which we're so appreciative of how this town has kind of supported us over the past 1.5 years. And again, I'm here to kind of support your efforts and also, really from my standpoint, playing at the band shell is something that that we would love to do as well, and Songs of Mirror Lake is certainly a great series, but you know, spending 220 days here a year in Lake Placid, I walk by that band shell all the time, and I look down at how much it's unused, and I think it's a bit of a shame. And I'd love to just see if, you know, if there's more discussion that can be had, or if there is a process on a very selective basis as to how we can open up the band shell to those kind of proven entities, you know, even perhaps on a lower scale standpoint, if it's not a major event, if it's a Thursday night, and, you know, from our standpoint, the Grow Up Project, we love giving back to this town from a performance standpoint. And so, you know, is there an opportunity to have a discussion about a smaller scale type of, not even to the degree of Songs of Mirror Lake, but my own personal feeling is it's a fabulous facility. It's a beautiful setting out there. And we as a band, Grow Up Project, love to enrich the town with music. So I think that's, again, I'm here to support your initiative, but also dig a little bit deeper and see if there is an opportunity, if there's more discussion that can be had. You know, it's a review process that can be really set up to encourage people, you know, local artists to come in and play for a couple hours on a weeknight. Again, something not on a grand scale where we have to tie up, you know, traffic and the town, but.
Are you talking the off season or on season?
Well, the off season gets a little dicey, obviously. with
Well,
weather.
in the peak season, the rest of our motels, restaurants, everyone's trying to make a living, whatever parking is there, they want customers there.
Right,
And if we have a free concert there, I mean, they're already displeased with all the concerts that we have there.
right,
We do look at the Songs on Mirror Lake and Sinfonetta as a cultural event for the village, and we help sponsor both of those.
right,
But I think, you know, we've done what we can, I agree, it's underutilized, but it is also used sometimes for ceremonies and what have you. You know, it is what it is, if we just don't have the parking, we don't have the police and crowd control. And the Port Chilburn seems to have it all, and it's not far away,
right.
and both your bands are very popular, you're going to attract a lot of people. Like I said, I don't want to speak for anybody here, but anyone have any different opinions? Did I sum it up?
Yeah, and I think that there's, you know, also the kind of challenges, and I think one of the kind of reasons why Songs on Mirror Lake and Sinfonetta, you know, kind of have been a touch point that we've channeled people to, is because, you know, they have the kind of the volunteers and the infrastructure also to deal with, you know, garbage and setup and breakdown, and kind of that relationship to ensure that all that is, you know, really smooth and doesn't kind of add burden. So, you know, I think that there's a few different components, you know, about kind of accessibility, about parking, about, you know, the logistics on the day, that would all need to be considered as part of that.
How do you all feel about Songs of Mirror Lake, how it's working at this point? Is there, you know, it
It's a
seems
good
like.
relationship, I mean, we've had no real major complaints, we've had a few events that got too big for that location, as I've said. It's a balance between keeping the merchants happy that have to make a living there, and having people come in and take those people away. Feel free if you want, we have our workshops, second and fourth Tuesday of every month. Either send her a written letter, or if you wanna come, but I think so far that's been the sentiment of the board. The only person you're not talking to tonight is the person who was past president of the Business Association and treasurer for many years. I do you know Mark Alvin very well.
I don't, certainly know Mark's name, but yeah.
He'd be a good one
not
to talk
personally.
to, you know, he has a good feeling, he owns a store on the street. Get some feedback there, but if you wanna come to a workshop, we can put you on the agenda.
Be great,
But like I say, I can't speak for the board, but that's always been in the past.
yeah. Well, it's something I'd like to pursue, and I think, from my standpoint, I'm willing to make, you know, any contributions. Put together any infrastructure, that needs to be done and
Hire the state police.
and based on the email exchange, you know, the email trail that went around last summer, obviously I'm aware of how detailed it is and for us to go play, you know, LPCA, do a free concert for the town, it's a heck of a lot easier, but you know, it's a little bit remote off the beaten track and there's just nothing like being in the heart of this town on the lake, performing music and for everyone to enjoy. So, yeah, from my standpoint, as a taxpayer, as you know, committed resident of Lake Placid, it's a conversation I want to pursue. And let's take it to the next level, whatever that is.
Like I say, I started talking to Mark, he's the Main Street representative, like I say, when you haven't talked to tonight. Said something to us that you'd like to get on our agenda for one of our workshops. And can't promise you anything, but you can at least speak your piece.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Opportunity. Appreciate your time.
And I think we got a little bit off topic from your.
We did.
Your part.
Really,
So-
I appreciate everything that you had to say too.
Yeah.
We would love to have a facility, like Saratoga Performing Arts Center in the middle of our village. Yeah, great, but we don't have parking, we don't have crowd control. And we're taking business away from the people that live and work on Main Street.
And again, I'm just a little bit removed from it, but what is the situation at the Ovals? Is that if we wanted to?
It's a first time, and we don't control the oval, it's clean depending on the time of year, Jackie, and you can answer it. It's either run by the school or it's by Orga,
Right.
and it's out of our control. You know, if people wanna have events there, they can, but if they wanna go past the noise ordinance of 9:30, that's where they come to us, and that's all that was for.
Right,
And we just felt, how do we touch base with all the residents that live down there and make it even practical?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them have to get up the next day. and go to work,
Absolutely.
Like it's a tourist town.
Have
We
to
had,
respect that,
you know,
for
you're
sure.
putting your kids to bed and, you know, we have problems with the bars you mentioned down here,
Yeah.
the same thing with our residents, so.
Right, yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Well, good, well, again, I just, so interested in the performing arts, committed to it and want to do everything we can to help and support the town. And, so definitely further the discussion,
Very good.
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in. Anything else?
Thank you for being willing to hear it and discuss it, and I know this was brought to their input, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Yes.
It's-
It was
And
nice.
thanks for the event
Yeah.
that you're doing.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I'll talk to George about how we can make the horse show around it.
Yeah,
That might actually be better, because like you're saying, like they walk in the field.
it's a great facility.
We could-
You know,
Well, and if you could work it out with the town too,
I was just gonna
get
say-
food trucks and everything else in there
Right.
too.
it's town, not village, and I know they're putting a master plan together to utilize in that area more, so.
Okay, and is that who?
It's the town, so Derek, Doty is the supervisor. I go online, you can see all the board members.
Yeah, I think it's the Parks Department who handles it.
It's a park.
Or yes.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, and I think the, you know, the master plan is definitely kind of thinking about how to make it, you know, more of a multi-use event down the road, you know, so I think that there could be some good, maybe a good trial run for some of that stuff there.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully we can get the PLL to kind of sponsor it too, linked up with all the stuff that they're kind of putting into their people.
Well, just like we have a few community events, we try to go to the arts and cultures, maybe our town will do the same for you out there. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks so much, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Care.
Anybody that's on,
Jackie pointed out that there were a couple questions.
question of hiring that person, you're talking.
So Jeremy is moving from
Oh,
Vermont
oh.
to Saranac Lake,
Yeah.
so he's relocating. Don't know the next one though.
Well, I think, I'm guessing the answer, what does it say, is Jeremy, so are you saying, I guess the question is, the person's not here to ask. Are you online?
Yeah, it's Pixel.
Yeah.
Okay, if you'd like, would you like to talk to us, or do you just want us to go by what you've written? Okay, so I'm assuming whoever Pixels is,
Okay.
that whole, we
Yeah,
can't see it.
We gotta scroll back.
Yeah, that's actually the next comment, so
Okay.
we should finish up with this one.
Okay, so I think the answer is that, like I say, there were 31 applicants and wherever possible, a local person is given, an advantage. But when the qualifications of someone that isn't local far outweigh the person who is local, and that's what the department head recommends, and that's what he wants, that's where it goes. Of equal or even close to equal, we would always like to hire from someone who already lives here. Like, I don't know if that answers it, if someone that's online wants to further ask or debate that, I'm happy to. If not, why does Dr. Preston interview 4 people out of the 31? They had 31 and they interviewed the people, to my knowledge, I can't speak for Kimball. But any of our department heads, the procedure is to pick the most qualified. I know that they spoke with the members of the electric departments that have to work with these people to get their feedback, because it is a small department. And you don't want to make sure someone's going to fit in, and that's why they were picked. Okay, well, there's the one.
You want me to read it, or would Restoration like to speak for themselves?
Okay, let's see. Oops. Sure, go ahead, Anita, why don't you read it?
And just as a follow-up to the previous one, they are saying that they are a local person that has qualifications, just not on paper.
All I can say is, it sounds like maybe you were interviewed.
No, this was about, restoration was about,
Oh,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I'm
they're
still
going
following
the
up
pixels.
on this.
The electric department, yeah, I think it's tricky if qualifications aren't official.
Well, and once again, I
Yeah.
mean, we pick our department heads because they're knowledgeable and work with their people, and we trust their judgment. And we're not going to force someone on them that they don't think are the best person for the job. And there obviously has to be a standout of why they pick someone or they won't pick them. At least that's always been the unwritten rule here that I know. 16 years that I've been here. But like I say, unless Pixels would like to talk to us, I'd be happy to answer, but if not, let's go to the next question. It was really long.
Sure.
I don't know what that's in regards
I
to.
think it was more of a recommendation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
An interesting thought in regards to the concert series, why not attempt to work with the Lucy family and secure an agreement to use the old club land as a larger concert venue? Of course, that is private land and it wouldn't be anything that would happen this summer, but that land would also seemingly solve each problem of parking, accessibility, and logistics. It's still close enough to Main Street where people can walk, but far enough away to not congest Main Street.
You know, once again, I think that is private land, as you mentioned, and that's something really that should be taken up with the Lucy family and see if they're interested. They do a lot of giving back that a lot of people don't know about. They do work with the village to help us through a lot of things, but as far as asking for a group to play there, I think that's up to the group. Especially when you've got such a nice venue that's really suited for that town owns at the horse show grounds.
Anita, I'm sure that you'll make all these chats part of the official record.
Yeah.
Sure,
These comments are the same as if somebody was there in person, so they can be part of the record of the
Okay.
meeting.
we actually, well, okay,
Okay, yeah.
I'll talk to you about that.
I see
Janet.
where it says restoration says your microphone's not working. Sorry, but if, you know, my cell phone is 518-524-0681. If you'd like to give me a call, I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
And then Pixel. Concert at the Worship Grounds.
Key, whatever that is.
Would there be transportation available for the concert at the horse show grounds? Can I just put in my 2 cents that people seem to think the village produces these concerts? We do not. There is no events department. Anything about the concert would have to be brought to us by a group like Songs or LPCA who are in the business of doing those things. There's no event staff at the village. Roost is our closest event staff. So yeah, Roost could also arrange for that.
Well, and if the horse show grounds are used, that would be the town approving that, and I guess you could ask them that question.
And Essex County would be the ones providing transportation, since we don't
Right.
have transportation to provide.
I think so, I don't know if that was a.
That might be.
Sure, that means all. Any other questions there?
No, I think the one about transportation is the last one.
Okay.
No.
Is there anybody else that's online who would like to ask any questions?
Yes, my name is Leslie Shannon. I am a resident of Lake Placid, living within the village, obviously. I'm gonna make this real short, and I know it's about parking and you don't want to hear it. But I just want to say, I truly understand the need for the parking meters, and I'm definitely in favor of that particular revenue source. However, there must be a better way to deal with the people that are not chronic abusers. And the meter people must be taught empathy and understanding in certain situations. I received a ticket on May 29th in front of Mids Park. I had dropped my boyfriend off at Jimmy's to get us a table while I parked. As I was parking, I realized I had left my purse at home. I walked back to Jimmy's, got my boyfriend's credit card, walked back to my vehicle, purchased a voucher, then realized I had already gotten a ticket. The meter person was right there, and when I told him what happened and was showing him the voucher in my hand, his retort was, "You were on Main Street a lot longer than that, and I already wrote the ticket." My voucher was in my hand. I walked from Mids Park to Jimmy's and back, and he basically called me a liar. Even the tourists standing nearby were appalled at his demeanor. The meter man just made a really great impression about the friendliness of our village to the tourists who we want to come back. When I was in one of the businesses on Main Street a couple of weeks later, I was telling the employee there what had happened. They told me I can get free parking for up to 15 minutes if I just keep hitting parking after I put my plate number in. They also told me I can get a residence pass. I can get a residence pass for free parking up until about 11 a.m. to do business on Main Street. The fact that many residents did not know about these freebies for residents is a serious lack of communication between the residents and the village. Many of us would not be avoiding Main Street otherwise. Residents need to be informed. Unfortunately, many of these residents who I've talked to have also had to endure negative interactions from some of these meter men. I would respectfully ask that all residents of Lake Placid be made aware of the parking freebies for residents so we can get back to doing business on Main Street. Everyone received by mail the Ironman schedule and the road closures. I'm sure the village can do the same about the parking. I would also ask that the meter people be taught basic customer service and positive interaction skills, as my encounter with the meter man was surprisingly hostile, especially considering it was in front of many tourists. I really appreciate your time listening to that. Like I said, I'm in favor of the parking meters. I know how they involve. However, the new meter people that are there are horrific, and I cannot stress that enough. I pay the tickets or I pay for the vouchers when I'm on Main Street. The one time I made a mistake and was gone maybe 3 to 4 minutes, and he was downright rude. That's just not acceptable for a friendly village. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Okay, and to answer your questions, I will talk to Chuck Thompson, our chief of police, and relay your comments. Also, when you say no one knew about that, we had how many residence pass purchased?
800.
800 of them.
Yeah,
It was
I'm one of those people that don't usually go on town meetings. I don't read the paper, and I'm very rarely on social media. I think something that was mailed directly to somebody's house would be really helpful.
Okay, and I was just going to say there was a lengthy article in the newspaper that was very good about that. But I have heard what you're saying. There are some people that don't support our local newspaper, which is too bad, but we have talked about putting something out maybe in the electric bill.
It went out in the electric bill.
When?
When
A
we-
year ago.
when- yeah,
Oh,
a
did
year
it in the
ago,
electric?
yeah,
Because I know we were.
It went out. in the
Unfortunately,
electric bill.
Unfortunately, my electric bill is automatic payments. I don't even look at it. It just gets taken out of my bank account,
You still
Okay.
get the
you
notification.
know?
So I guess the question is, if you're not gonna read the paper, you don't get your electric.
Well, I do read,
How am
I
I
do
gonna tell
read the
you?
paper. I do read the
What
paper
method
on
do you think
Facebook,
we should use?
but you know, there's many people that don't have access to that. They just don't do that, and they're on Main Street. You know, you have waiters and waitresses.
Yes.
Okay,
You have
so I
waiters
guess
and
my
waitresses.
question, just to help us out, if someone's not gonna read the paper, they're not gonna go on Facebook. And they're not gonna get an electric bill, how do we reach them? If you give us some.
Direct mail to their home.
So you want us to,
Electric is direct mail.
yeah. And so even if they get direct payment, the bills, that would still go.
Still get a bill.
So
Says
according to
like
that,
that.
we have done that to your address.
Okay, so in other words, we should just start word of mouth. Now, the
No,
other.
It's not
all
correct.
right,
Did
that's
you
fine,
not hear
that's
what we
fine.
said?
Yes,
Okay, so in other words, a direct mail was sent to your property, even though you direct pay your electric bill, there was still something sent to you about the.
I'm not gonna look for parking, I'm not gonna look for parking regulations in an electric bill that I know has a zero balance,
Okay, so you just threw it in the garbage.
pretty much.
Okay, well, we can
Because
talk
that-
about sending something out, but word of mouth is also a great thing.
All right, I just wanted to put that on record that that's something I thought needed to be done. I think the more important thing is having the meter man have some type of customer service skills, be taught customer service skills. I'm on Main Street almost every day, paying the parking meter until I found this out. I go to MBT Bank down there and my attorney's down there. So being on Main Street and talking to many people, the fact that many of these people are having also negative interactions with the people that are giving the tickets, that's a concern. I want my customers to come back that are from out of state, out of the area. And people are just, well, I'm not parking on Main Street. I'm not going to go down on Main Street. It's just insane. I agree that we need the meters. I agree that we need somebody in the police department doing the meters. They just have to be nice people. There has to be situations where, if something is an odd occurrence, he's not going to just say, well, my boss told me I have to give this ticket. They need to have a little empathy.
Okay, I appreciate all your comments.
All right, that's all I'm asking for, is just to be heard.
Okay, you were.
All right. All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you so much.
Unless our village attorney wants to chime in.
I think you got one more message. Oh, just that Kim would rather hire someone that resides inside the village, not outside the village. He made the recommendation for somebody outside the village.
Yeah, we was just reading that, it was also stated by Kim, he would rather hire someone inside the village. Kimball, our superintendent of the electric department, is the one that made this recommendation. I guess you should talk to Kimball.
All right. I just have a few more questions about all of our favorite topic, parking. First, I wanted to let you guys know that this is my last village board meeting.
Oh.
Oh.
I hope you're going somewhere fun or a good
I'm
job.
going to grad school.
Oh,
in
congratulations.
2 weeks.
Where are you off to?
Ole Miss. Yeah,
You
so I
know,
just wanted to let you guys
down there?
know,
Already
I'm
got that.
not ghosting you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just leaving town, but there's gonna be a new reporter, Grace. She's starting in mid-August, so we'll meet her next month.
Great,
Okay.
well, good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks
you
for
know,
your
how
service.
did it down in Old Miss? Just to let you know how it is out there today? That ain't nothing.
A lot, it's very hot. Yeah.
She's in grad school, so she won't be able to get outside. She
No,
has to
you'll be-
study.
you'll be
I'll
wrong.
be in a windowless room, yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for.
Congratulations.
Being a pleasure to work with this past year. Now on to the fun questions. So, yesterday I ended up being able to speak with Chief Dobson about the signs on Main Street. Turns out they've been there longer than I realized. And then a Facebook commenter let us know this morning that they've been there even longer than I think he realized.
You get comments from Facebook too?
Yeah,
That
we
was just me.
So someone said those signs have been up for years. I can't confirm that. I do know that Google Street View shows them in November of 2023, so they've been there since at least November saying parking 8 to 8. So I was wondering if anyone.
I think I can answer that. We
Yeah.
talked about that this morning.
Yeah.
When the Main Street was done, this was talked about extending. And
Okay,
somewhere it slipped through the cracks.
all
And
right,
because the signs were part of the Main Street, they could order them, they did. And then they never got put in place. And then with COVID, we had nobody, or well, not nobody, we had very limited parking enforcement.
Mhm.
And a lot of these things didn't come to light and they slipped through the cracks. I mean, I would take full blame, I'm the mayor, buck stops here. But now that we finally have full-time enforcement and we're finding these problems, it's one of our top topics right now, addressing that.
yeah,
As you can see, there's last meeting, there's people that really think the employees should park up Main Street and the tourists be damned, and there's people that want the customer to be able to park and come into their store. We've got to balance it, try to make it fair.
so does anyone in the room have a ballpark idea of when the 8 to 8 signs went up then?
Probably after Main Street construction.
Yeah, they went up in I believe it was that September before we reopened the street. Towards the end of finishing, I mean, there was a couple little touch-up things that had to be done. In 2023, but probably September of 22, they went up.
So is there any concern that in like the past 2 years, maybe people have been paying for parking when they don't necessarily need to?
Will they even accept it?
No, the machine won't let you pay past 6.
Okay.
So that was correct, it was just the signage that was
It's just
incorrect.
All right.
They ordered it preemptively based on the conversation that was had at the time.
And if you remember the last meeting we had, where I thought we already did parking until 5.
Oh, yeah.
That was because all the people knew that our meter enforcement got done at 5.
Yeah.
It was really 6.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can see where the locals know exactly when meter enforcement is there and how they park Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said,
mean,
our strive is just to make it fair for everybody.
Yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to ask about was, I also took a look at the village parking code just to make sure I was understanding everything correctly, and in a previous conversation, I think it was with Mindy and Mark, we talked about parking on holidays and how the village typically does enforce parking on holidays, but while I was looking at the parking code, it lists a few specific holidays where there's supposed to be no parking.
Okay, my understanding on that, correct me if I'm wrong, is that law was rewritten. And you were reading the old one, it wasn't stricken, is that correct?
Well, Janet, maybe you can.
So we did not change anything. So this new local law that you voted on tonight did not change any of the exemptions except the exempt hours. The rest of the exemptions that were in the existing law stayed the same.
So then, just to confirm, Janet, there is no charge for parking on holidays.
Jackie, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, but
I
if you
do,
do.
I
it's-
do.
It, I think my recollection is that there's no charge for parking on certain holidays, emergency situations, and on Sundays until 1 o'clock.
And if, I'm not here to correct you, Janet, but in the local law, it just says holidays. It doesn't define.
It does define the holidays.
It does?
Yeah, way in the beginning.
Okay.
It defines holidays as New Year's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day.
And I apologize, I didn't even know that.
You're good.
With
I just-
Jackie,
And I think the day we were talking about was Juneteenth, which isn't on that list anyway, so you're correct.
Okay,
That's it.
yeah, I mean, Jackie just made us aware of that, she just happened, luckily to have someone who likes to go back and read some of this stuff, but obviously in a tourist town, what's most important, we can't have that, so we will be addressing it.
Okay, so as of right now, are the meters charging on those specific holidays?
I think they are, we can make it so that they're shut down on those days going forward now that I am aware.
The board doesn't have any plan to start charging on those holidays?
Oh, I'd say yes, I mean, that's our busy time, that's where you need. the
You do have a
enforcement.
plan to, or you?
We didn't know about it until this morning at 10 o'clock, honestly, when
Okay.
Jackie went back and read this. How long did when did that go into effect? I've never heard about it in the 16 years I've been on the board.
90 something.
I always remember the meters being shut down Christmas week. That's the only time I ever remember.
What year was
No, that local law has been in place for many, many years, and
Over the meters.
nobody nobody wanted to recognize that change.
So-
Quite frankly, the whole local law about parking and about street designations, which I've indicated in the past, should be looked at in total, not just piecemeal.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
agree.
answered your question, but
Yeah,
once again, you did great homework.
well, I'll just rephrase it one more way. So is it possible that in the coming months, year, whatever, the village might see more amendments or changes to this?
Well, like I said, this isn't a one and done. It's very much like our vacation rental permit, so we can strive to get a balance. And obviously in this case where we can't not charge on holidays, because then instead of customers being able to park there, we'll end up with employees and store owners and whoever does that. So we're probably not gonna have to go change that if it hasn't already been changed. But I just found out about it this morning. I can't give you an answer, but we definitely will be looking into that.
That's it for me.
Too easy. Well, once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Do you have an eye on further journalism or?
I'm going for creative writing. It's a 3-year funded program to write fiction, so
Oh, nice.
opposite of journalism, no fiction in journalism.
So we'll have a Lake Placid book coming out.
Maybe.
Okay, thanks again.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
So we have one more, which
Can you put that down for the workshop?
What's with about holidays?
Yeah.
I mean, that needs to be brought up.
so he's asking that we're not supporting local people. We didn't say that. We're supporting our superintendent who says he picked the most qualified person.
Okay,
Okay,
is there anybody else here? Anything more the board would like to add or say?
okay.
Accept a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Oh,
No, executive session.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Sorry about that. Guess it got away from me. I make a motion, we go into executive session, I believe it's for discussing the
Salaries.
salaries.
I'll
Do I have
second
a
the
motion? You wanna make?
I'll make-
No, I'll make a motion to
I'll
go into
second it.
executive
All
session.
in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Are you taking any action afterward?
No.
Okay.
You're around.
Okay.
Janet, are you staying on for this or
Might pay you on later just to confirm some of the points we talked about today. Sure, that's useful.
I'm staying on.
Okay, then I will be disconnecting the other people. Thank you for. Oh, you might have to disconnect. I'll be disconnecting each of you. Thank you for joining us tonight. No, I don't want to report them.
Wait, there's one more chat. I
Yeah.
don't get to.
Oh.
One more thing.
I disagree that that's how we acted, but thank you for your opinion. Okay, this is kind of unusual to have I guess maybe it isn't to have video. Is anyone possible to sign in on?
I think we would see them. I don't think they could be there sneakily.
And I don't think you want to record this.
Oh, yes,
No,
thank you. We will shut that down right now.
Janet, does it make sense to just pull you up on the phone to make sure we've got a clean line for executive session?
Yeah, if you want to, you know,
Or just put you
first of
on-
all, I've got to say the personnel salaries is not a valid reason to go into executive session, so.
We should discuss those openly.
Well, or you should come up with a different reason.
Very short list.
Okay.
Personnel list, and couldn't salaries be considered a
Just-
subset of personnel?
You just
No.
say.
No, personnel is, no, it could be, but that's, should have been the reason. Do you want me to call in?
No, I'll call you. You want me to
Well,
call
I
you?
hate to say it, but